Wow. Yes, good morning, class. And I would want to thank you very much for logging in. This time it's around 11, around past, and I would want to thank you for being patient. We'll do our best to complete still at our time, that is 1 o'clock. So in chapter 3 of digital forensics and investigations, we would want to cover the following. It's really a summary. This is a recap. If you look at our chapter 3, it's a recap of what we've covered in chapter 1, chapter 2, and tying our whole life cycle story together. What is our take home? Where do we start? So we will have a number of items we are going to repeat, but we will make sure we slowly but surely handle this item by item. Okay, so in our first week, we looked at the introduction to computer or digital forensics. We looked at a quick overview. We understood the need for digital forensics and defined what we term as digital forensics. And of course, we went through the life cycle. Even now, we shall go through it in a little more detail. And of course, our subsequent chapters from chapter 4, 5, 6, we shall go step by step in detail. Let me remove my video. It may be a little bit distractive, but also I see a number of people are enabling their videos. I need to quickly help disable them as well. Otherwise, we see Faith having her video. She may end up showing us things we never want to ever know or even see unknowingly. Okay, we see Babiria is trying to log in. Lewis as well. Ouma, Sydney. Try and log in. If it's poor network or if you want to just click your microphone, kindly do that. And again, if you have questions, feel free and type them in within our chat room. I will keep checking there from time to time. No problem for those who are registering. Okay, so the next week we looked at how to secure a computer or the secure components of a system. We looked at CIA, which was a summary of confidentiality, integrity, and availability. And here we were able to see how to test for integrity because it's one of those important tests that the legal arm requires of us to make sure we always have tested. And we will look at many more other ways in which we can test different components. For this class, we will not have a practical session. I will encourage us tomorrow at 2 to please log in. I'll also talk to the team in the evening. At least if we can give ourselves 1 hour tomorrow, 2 to 3, we can log in and we also have some practical session so that we can look at an overview of at least 2 to 3 software, but 1 hour, maybe 2 is good enough so that we don't exhaust it. And we shall maintain our Friday 2 to 3 just to help us get some more items on the practical bit of how to carry out this digital forensics. Yes, we went ahead and we looked at, in the introduction to forensics, we understood what the need for forensics is. And even today, we will still cover the need for forensics. We'll also be able to see what we define it as and what are the most appropriate ways in which we would handle. Of course, there are so many definitions, not forgetting that you've already looked at several of these methodologies that you did within your assignment. I hope you each submitted your group assignments. This is what we hope to cover within this overview or a recap of our chapters. We'll define again forensics. We look at the characteristics. We look at the need, the history, the goal of forensic studies and criminal investigation. We look at cyber crimes, different types, the role of evidence. We look at evidence itself and the key core principles that guide evidence. By the way, I keep reminding you every time you go through these summaries, you're able to see where are potential forms of questions. And if you honestly attend class and you attentively, persistently attend, you will be able to know where questions come from. We look at where are the 10 locations for evidence. We'll be able to see computer forensic methodology, the main one. Of course, in your assignment, you looked at several. And of course, you should know by now that every time we have life cycles, like methodologies that we've looked at, expect some of them to come in tests, in exams. That is always the way, because without knowing that life cycle, it will be tough for you to know the steps you follow when carrying out the methodology of carrying out a computer forensic investigation. We look at the application of computer forensics, uses of it, and also finalize by looking at the skills. What skills do we require to be good forensic, computer forensic investigators? Okay, so we are good to start with our definition. Here we'll pick out on each of the slides what is core and what is the most important. I'll focus on our last slide here, last bullet, which is our basic definition. Computer forensics is looked at as the collection and analysis of data from the computers and any other digital devices in the interest of obtaining evidence. And one thing that you need to take home by end of this class, where would you actually carry out an identification process? If you're told, identify the different storage devices, we will be able to see all of them, and we spend about 10 or 6 slides on, about 10 slides on the identification phase, because it's very key and very core for us to know what do you identify when you go to a forensic investigation point in time. It's very important for you to know what and where do you start from. So from our definition, we've said we collect, which is identifying, then we do the acquisition, we analyze this data, and our focus is to make sure that we package it well. We write reports and present it well in court so that it's admissible. Admissibility is also one of the things we look at that we also covered. Your ability to present an item in within the courts of law for it to be accepted. Okay. Evidence obtained in computer forensic investigation can always be useful in criminal, civil, and also corporate investigation. A moment, please. Okay, so we're saying that we need evidence, and evidence that is forensic oriented can always be useful in presenting to court in case there is a criminal case. We can also present it to courts of law in case of a civil or corporate investigation. What we need to make sure is that the process has been made very clear. Evidence may be required from a wide range of computer crimes and misuse. And we use information that we pick for prosecution, for arresting the criminals, termination of employees, especially if they have broken the rules, preventing future illegal activity. And you need to make sure you do that so that the others take a lesson not to break the law within the organization. So forensics is very, very important across board, as we shall see in this overview chapter. We defined an investigator. This is one who gathers, documents, and evaluates the evidence and information. And of course, they process it, package it, and make sure they present it to the courts of law. Before you present it, you always make sure that in court, they always make you swear affidavit. You get a Bible and you swear, I solemnly swear that what I'm going to provide is nothing. Just a moment. They pick a Bible, like this Holy Bible, and the person has to swear. You hold it and you swear, I so and so will solemnly swear that I will tell nothing but the truth. So help me God. And of course, forensic experts aim at making sure that they tell the truth. That is the ultimate of forensic sciences, to dig until we get the truth with evidence. One other thing we also appreciate as well in forensics are that there are several methodologies. We define them. Carrier in 2006 has his own methodology. Casey and their colleagues in 2010 came up with their methodology. And so forensic investigations are always carried out to investigate on a number of staff who are alleged for misusing the company's computers, for example, viewing pornographic images over the company's internet during work hours, carrying out fraud. We shall see a number of crimes as well. I'm just flipping to see if we have any questions so far. We're just still doing a quick recap of our questions. Okay. Here we want to look at characteristics. I see there is a spelling error for characteristics of digital forensics. There are mainly four. The core is identification, and here in identification, that is where we go and pick, we identify what they are, we seize as well as carry out the acquisition. Then we analyze, first preserve it, package it well, package those storage devices very well, that's the preserving. Then we analyze them when we reach on our workstations. The analysis takes a lot of the time because we are looking for some things. We are picking out hidden documents. We are searching in so many places for the particular keywords they have told us to look for. If it's an email, we are searching for that email within our analysis stage. Then we finally do the presenting of this case and package it and send it to the courts of law. But we say that we work hand in hand with police, with a legal arm to ensure that we pack with a legal arm to ensure that we package it very well so that we don't lose the case. Many people, many forensic experts get frustrated when they don't follow the steps. Okay, so Why do we need computer or digital forensics? We need digital forensics because it helps us produce evidence in the courts of law to lead to the punishment of the actual criminal. Two, to ensure that the integrity of the system is maintained. In integrity of the system, we used one way of testing using the reg shot the last time. I hope you got some time to practice. Tomorrow still, we'll quickly go through reg shot for those who missed it. And then thereafter, we will also be able to proceed on and go to other tests in forensic tools to see what we are testing for. In addition to that integrity test, we also use the hashing test. We call it the hash values. We shall see them later in this class. These also help in testing the integrity of the system. Our focus is on the response of the high-tech ICT people like you on such offenses to make sure that the output is highly accepted. It's starting to intertwine, and we want to make sure we get the actual truth from what we currently have. We looked at this slide that gave us the 6 key core digital investigation. In chapter 1, in fact, we even looked at more illustrations and even more factors. So I won't really go through all these reasons as to why digital investigation. It's for the truth, knowing where the intruder came in from, why did they attack, who was the actual target, what was the intrusion mechanism, did they finally get what they wanted, what next? You know, all those big questions. We want to see where next can we trap and trace such of these people so that they do not come back to invade our space, our digital space. And in case they are victims, of course, we want to see, can we be able to restore them? They may send a virus to a whole server and it knocks it down. We should now be in position to see that every time they send something like that, we get back our machines and they are restored and work goes on as needed. In case we have any deleted information, we pick it up. We looked at the history of computer forensics. We said that over 30 years ago, 3 decades, that's way back, the US was involved in quite a number of military stunts. And then they realized that no, the kind of crimes that they are involved in were not only just becoming only physical, but now they were moving to the internet as well, moving to the virtual space. And that is why the Department of Defense, they are the ones that came up with this digital forensics. And up to date, that's where FBI is stated. That's where they still sit. And that's why they do their forensic investigation in picking out the truth, in knowing where the next attacks are. They're investigating to ensure that they keep the peace and security of the entire world. Remember, they have self-appointed themselves as the watchdogs of the world. So over decades, with the coming of internet, so many software companies, the robust forensic software has really improved and increased and given us high levels of accuracy of what needs to be investigated. What is the goal of digital forensics? We've said it's nothing but the truth. The main goal of forensics experts is not only to find the criminal, but also to find out the evidence and to present it in a manner or in a way that is accepted by the courts of law. Okay, so our main goal is not only just to get these experts to find a crime we've seen, but to package it such that they can legally see how to incriminate following our legal action of this particular criminal and get to the real truth of it. Why was this killing happening? Why was this and the other? And etc. Cyber crimes and evidence. We want to look at some cyber crimes. Cyber crimes occur when information technology is used to commit or to conceal an offense. It's either to using ICT to commit an offense, as we shall see, or even using ICT to hide this information. It's also part of the crimes. Here we gave a list, and we covered this earlier. Forgery of documents, breach of computer security, fraud, theft, copyright violation, like copying people's music. We give you an assignment. You just go and copy and paste from somewhere. You don't even give us the quoting. It's a copyright violation. You're stealing someone's work. Identity theft, threats, burglary, homicides, administrative investigation, cyber terrorism. In administrative investigation, I'll give an example. These are white collar corruption threats, and even reports of this kind of people who are stealing money from others for personal gain. Suspect someone is eating maybe a government's project and just eating out their money. You carry out a forensic investigation on that person, and you see where the truth comes in. Cyber terrorists, making sales and investments in a fraudulent way. I'll give an example. You want to buy a vehicle like from Japan or from wherever. You just send the money without verifying, and then after you realize, oh, the person can no longer be reached, number closed, phone numbers, email addresses bouncing. You just know that, yes, you actually been defrauded. It's a sales and investment fraud. People take your money, or there's a conference somewhere, make payments. You go check online, there is nothing. It's a fraud. One of the ways you can know that people are actually defrauding you, you look out for that conference and go online and search about it. Don't be naive. Don't think that they are the ones who are God sent. No. Okay, how does burglary and homicides qualify to be part of the cyber crimes? The moment we said from our definition, ICT is used or is actually being used to conceal. Give an example. There were series and series of people who have always been killed. But the mere fact you had a phone call with someone telling you to do this, and many times you find that after they carry out a killing of someone, like the women they found who were killed and thrown into the septic tanks, what else do they find there when they dig? They find SIM cards. Why? They want to conceal that information because that was the card that they were using to talk and to track the person on. They know they can go back to UCC and retrieve all the people you were talking to, because in one way or the other, they will help in putting together mapping. Who were the people who you were frequently talking to before the actual killing? When did you do the planning? They can track a lot from one SIM card. So burglary, when they break into organizations, in homes, every time they steal something, they always steal ICT equipment because they want to resell them. They hardly just break in and say, oh, we've only just come to see you. No. They collect money, the thief comes to kill, steal, and destroy. They either kill or they pick gadgets like TVs, they pick like cameras, they pick phones, they pick laptops. That is burglary. Look at people who are on borders, you're walking back home to your hostel or back home, and you find someone who just grabs your laptop bag. That's part of back. It's part of theft. The mere fact it involves an ICT equipment Okay, sorry about that. So homicides, burglaries are really part of using ICT to either conceal information or even use them to commit crimes. Of course, electronic fraud transfers, yes, people always tapping into money in transit, be it mobile money, to see how they can divert and get more riches. Okay. There are several other crimes, like email stalking, bosses sending emails to students, to staff, staff sending emails to students, harassing them for whatever reason. It's a crime and you have a right to take them on to police once you have the evidence. If you don't do this, I will kill you, I will finish you off. All those are threats. Email stalking is not accepted and it's a crime. It's part of the cyber crimes. As long as you can avail evidence, the courts of law, that is it. Financial fraud within organizations. Social media defamation equally occurs. People get on social media and they're forever abusing, tarnishing someone's name badly. That is social media defamation. It's a crime. And where we saw someone, when Selanyansi was trying to defame the president and his wife, then now we saw Kakwenza also writing a lot about, and you know, it's still social media defamation. It's good to have respect for people. Denial of service attacks. The intruders will make use of zombies or bots. They call them bots. They're in between. So I want you to read about them, about denial of service attacks. And you'll see that these ones cut off services from people. It can be internet. It can be access to a particular server. And why they just the way, look at Facebook, the way it made those millions of dollars loss when they just switched off its server, and it was an attack. The other day I was reading and I saw that even, are you seeing the prices of oil that the world is suffering? It was because of a cyber attack. The cyber hackers tapped into the database of the oil database for the entire world. And I'm telling you, they went infringing and changing these prices. And it is taking them a long time to even get who these criminals are. So these cyber criminals can stop at nothing. They can put down an economy. They can stop at nothing to ensure that they get whatever they need, whatever reason. Whether it is for fame, they are always putting down several services. So that's why worldwide it will take us time for oil prices to get back. Of course, they defrauded a lot of money they are in, and it has affected us globally. And the prices, cost of living is slowly by slowly, it had really reached very high when we're seeing some places selling fuel at 12,000, but now it's coming down to about 5,080 shillings. I don't know, 5,000. The other one is industrial espionage. You trespass online. You're supposed to keep in your lane. For you decide, no, let me just go today and attack Mook's account. Let me attack so-and-so's Mwele processes. Let me attack. You're trespassing. when they get you in someone's house, they always charge the person for trespass. So you trespass online, which is what of industrial espionage exactly means. The most common crimes and methods. The highest is the lost or stolen wallets. Those ones are using traditional methods. They just find you walking. Have you seen those border men who grab someone's bag? That is it. Sometimes they can even carry you, they carry as if they're taking you to your place. They reach in one corner where they know there are no people, it's secluded. What do? They knock you down intentionally. As you try to stand up, off, your bag is gone, your phone is gone, everything is gone. Your laptop is gone, anything. So most of the crimes that happen at that 43% are for stolen products. Then of course we have thefts at 19% that are carried out when a transaction is ongoing. I gave you an example. If you have money that is being transmitted and it's 1 million, you cut off the last zero. What will be transferred is only 100,000. That's a big error. Where is the 900,000? Someone else has taken it on. Yet what arrives is only, so by the time you go through the process of tracking, who picked the other zero? Here it is very tough in our country. It's very tough. Our forensics are still at amateur levels. We don't yet have the capacity at that level to manage such capacity. And that's why learning and taking on security is very key, because you're feeling a big gap. There is a huge gap that we are not seeing or that we are facing within the country. At 13%, friendly thefts. You know, when you start discussing, by the way, do you know what my password is? A, B, C, D, E, F, G, X, Y, Z, P, Q, R. You know, never have that kind of wicked discussion. People start sending you emails. Please, lost someone, send this. Someone steals someone's phone and they start telling you all kinds of, those are part of the friendly thefts. Stolen paper or mail account for 3%. Online crimes, 11. Data breaches, 11. And any other crimes at 1%. This was data of 2021. I will encourage you, please, to also get some of the facts now from our Uganda Police Services website, ups.go.ug. Download our annual crimes rate and you will see what our new crimes are. And where are some of these areas that have the highest criminals or the crimes that have the highest areas? I'm telling you, it will be very shocking when you see where most of these cyber criminals and cyber crimes are always reported. You'll notice that last year, the biggest losses were in banks. It's Stanbic with bank, and they put the names there. Bank of Baroda, Bank of Africa. There were lots of billions and billions that were stolen. And I tell you, once a bank loses money, it's them that make a loss. It's not you who keeps your money there. So they have to devise all means in which they are going to get back and trace and pick this money. And that's why cyber forensics are very important and they come in very handily. Okay, so this slide shows us the top 20 countries that handle, where these cyber crimes are always committed. USA is the leading one with over 23%. Other countries follow, very tiny small ones. Maybe Uganda is there also. China is the second with 9. Germany, Britain, Brazil, Spain, in that order, all the way to Israel with 1% of the cyber criminals. But of course, with VPN, people can always track and trace where people are, even if you're using some virtual private network to masquerade. So what is evidence? Evidence is a stuff of proof. It's the one that you will use to manifest the truth about a particular fact or circumstance. A legal system imposes 3 basic requirements. I'm telling you, we always ask you what is evidence, and list or describe briefly its requirements. We can ask for any 2, sometimes we can ask for 3. If there are 3 marks or 1, at least you should be able to know any of the basic requirements when you're coming up with evidence. 1, evidence must be relevant in terms of it should be related to that case. If it's about thefts in a bank, it should be related. It should not be about a homicide. No, it should not be unless if there is a killing, a homicide that is related to the theft of money in a bank. You can want to relate some, but it must be relevant to that case. Even the evidence you pick must be related to that particular case. Authentic, it should be very authentic in terms of it must be the real thing. And thereafter, we said integrity is the 3rd requirement. In integrity, we've seen how to test it. We want that our information is not modified or it has not been contaminated. And that's why we saw if you're using Windows, you need to use a write blocker to help in freezing information as is, so that no one changes the information that we have. Okay, so that is evidence for us, and its 3 key core requirements. That is relevance, authenticity, and integrity. Evidence, we've seen whatever piece of evidence you get, like this hard drive, you've made your copy of that information on it, seal it and save it in a safe place. This is the container we're talking about. It's a well-cushioned, well-padded, static container, anti-static container, anti-static bubble wrap, to ensure that it doesn't lose that information, because it's magnetic. It is fragile. It can easily break. So it needs to have these cushions in it. And of course, look at the seals. They are well sealed, signed off, and they have people's names, locations, and all of that. And we shall see it's part of the things you'll need to carry whenever you're going for any investigation process. Digital evidence, again, we've said that any data that is recorded or preserved or in any media by a computer system or similar device, this can be read or understood by a person or a computer system or any other similar device. And where possible, this evidence that you get, make a printout, because I tell you, the legal people always want to read. They must read, they must see files. When I mention files, quickly recall what Mavirizi always does. I can't forget when he got trucks and trucks of what? Little small lorries carrying all these books going to court because he had some cases he was taking on. So it includes a display of all these printouts and outputs of the data that one has. Next, we want to look at our 2 types of digital evidence. We have persistent data or volatile data. Persistent data is the same as non-volatile. Non-volatile data is data that is already in storage. It's in a read-only memory format. It's on hard drives, on flash disks, removable storage devices, that even when power goes off, you will not lose that information because it has already been stored. That is persistent data. What about volatile data? Volatile data is that one that is lost the moment power goes off. It was information still in transit, information of deleted files, of computer history, of computer registries, temporary files, information on web browsers. All these are part of volatile data. So we'll be able to see some tools that can help us to track some of this volatile data. And there is software we're going to look at for volatility data. Next, we want to see our 5 rules of evidence. Evidence must be admissible. It must be able to be used in court or elsewhere once it's well preserved. We've seen it should be authentic as part of its requirements. It should be related to an incident in a relevant way. Oh, Samuel, what's happening? I see you annotating. Wow, that's serious. Let me quickly. Okay, we've seen admissibility. It should be able to be administered in the courts of laws. It should be used in the courts of laws for a particular crime. It should be authentic in terms of relevance to a particular case. It should be complete, and we call that as having a no-tunnel vision. It should be exculpatory evidence for alternative suspects. In terms of, it should be as complete as possible. You don't have information you pick from here correlating with the other one from there. It looks like the one in an office. No, it should be complete. It should be standalone as on its own. Once we run it, we don't need to have additional information to add in. That is what they term as evidence that should be complete. It should be reliable. It should be authentic and also have veracity. That means it should have the truth as well as accurate. We should rely on it. It should be reliable. By reliability, we mean that that kind of evidence we pick, the digital information, should be clear, easy to understand, and very believable to the juries. In terms of, it should actually make a lot of value to them when they are looking at it. Okay. Okay, so those are our key 5 rules of evidence. We always will ask you, list at least maybe any 5 locations for evidence. So at least you should be able to pick any of these locations. And here we've given you 10 most used locations. So one of them are the internet history files. We will see, how do we do the forensic investigation there? What about temporary internet files? We have deleted or hidden information spaces on Slack or unallocated spaces. Those are hidden. We will see how we can use steganographic tools to hide and unhide information that has been hidden. And even forensic tools that can help us pick out on these deleted or hidden information. Number 4, where we pick our evidence from: buddies lists, personal chat rooms, records, you're on WhatsApp, you're on Facebook. That speaks a lot, and it has a lot of evidence that we can actually pick on. And we see, by the way, it's very important for you to know that you're not only local citizens, but you're going to become global travelers around the world. You'll apply for visas, go to the US embassy, go to the UK, whichever embassy. They always to give them all your numbers registered on WhatsApp. They will tell you to always give them all your usernames for all your chat rooms, be it all your social media platforms, all of those news groups, all those clubs. They trace and they do a forensic investigation on you. Were you at one time discussing about how to kidnap and do something, and that is how they get criminals. And they say, no, for you are a criminal, you don't need to go anywhere, stay here. That's how they track and they trace some of those criminals. So be very careful with the information. We shall see by the end of this class, there are some tips we are going to see. Number 6, when we go to settings of each of the folders and the file names, we're able to see a lot of properties. Those are places we do a lot of forensic investigation. They give us the size, the dates, all of those, the file storage dates, The hardware software that has been added. When we go to installations, we can see, yes, what was installed maybe was a Trojan horse, or it was a virus that was installed that is picking information and it is just reporting, sending information to the enemy's camp. There is a lot that happens that you can pick these locations for evidence. Number 9, the file sharing ability. And 10 are the emails. These emails are able to give us lots of evidence, especially when you're handling issues like cyber stalking. Someone was sending you emails, threatening you, asking for bribes, asking for, I don't know, kintu kidogo. Once you have evidence on emails, the matter is settled. You have a case and they can be taken on in the courts of law. Computer forensics methodology. This one here, I know you've looked at other methodologies. This one just covers the basic steps of what you do in a step-by-step process. We shut down a computer, we document that hardware for configuration. In documenting, we pick out like the serial number, the operating system that we found running there, document as much detail. Is it an HP Ultrabook? I don't know, iCore something. You document as much as you have about that hardware device. Then you transport it if you've not made a copy of it. But what's advisable is to make a copy and just leave them with their device. Make your copy, seal it off, and take it to start doing the analysis. So you will see that shutting down, closing this computer, identify, all these happen in the identification stage. Acquisition stage is number 4. In the acquisition stage, we make the bitstream backups of hard drives, floppy drives, basically all kinds of devices that you will have identified. So acquisition, we make these bits, the bitstream backups. We also do the mathematical verification of data that is stored there. That's why we do that integrity check, and also use the right blockers to make sure no one also writes onto this information once we have picked it. Document the system date as well as the time. That is very, very important. And it tells you what time you picked it, what time you did this, you did the other, on within your system. Make a list of all the keywords, because once you go to the next phase of analysis, you're going to search for your keywords that the court allowed you to look for. In analysis still, we evaluate the Windows swapped files, files that were deleted, files in the file stacks, files in the unallocated spaces. Unallocated spaces, we've seen, those are the erased files or erased hidden files. Search everywhere. And we told you the last time that why do people hide these files? Organizations always create drives that they hide because they do not want people like URA to come and know some of the company secrets. Some of the secrets that are showing that maybe you're not paying taxes, you're not paying this, paying the other. Those are part of the things that they hide. We document our file names, dates, as well as the time. We identify the files, programs, and we stop any kind of anomalies. Then we finally evaluate these programs, functionalities, and document all our findings. This is in the last step where we are preserving and recording whatever we need to, because next we are going to present to the courts of law. These 15 steps are just giving a step-by-step process, but remember, you have covered and you should be able to explain some of those common methodologies of digital forensic investigation, what the steps are and what happens here and there. Where do we apply digital forensics? In places where we have financial fraud, I've given you an example, like in banks. Give an example like where there's mobile money thefts. Digital forensics comes in a handy way to carry out and find the truth. Criminal prosecution is also one of those that people always want to handle as well. Wherever there is a crime, like I gave an example of Lucy's case. In Lucy's case, it was clear what she was saying. She had won the elections in Amuria as a woman member of parliament. However, some particular people had robbed the elections. With her digital evidence, I'm telling you, it formed the first case that gave us the beginning of digital forensic investigation to be accepted as a formal way. Civil litigation, corporate security policies and violations. Remember, these security policies in a corporate company are the ones we say that are mainly handled by the private sector. Private sector usually handles lots of those small cases. Or we got someone watching pornography, doing their own business instead of doing companies' work. All that is forensics that can give us the truth. And that's where we apply forensic investigations in various areas. Who uses this computer forensics? We have several people who make use of them. We have criminal prosecutors. We have civil litigation people. Because when you bring in the facts that, oh, there was some fraud, then it becomes very clear that yes, there is a case for us to handle, and it is litigatable in terms of it is punishable. We have also the private corporations, companies of embezzlement of funds, cyber harassment, fraud, even individuals. You may be there and they always send you those strange emails, or not emails, messages. You are lucky winner of this. Please send money or pick the money from, I don't know, this place. Those are criminals. Report them at least to the service providers, either MTN or Airtel. Report them. So private corporations always face big challenges, and you need to put up tight rules if you're to survive within this digital forensic field. The other people that need to make use of these forensics are the law enforcement officers, the police, and any other people that are reported to. Okay, we have Herbert asking, how comes that money lost through mobile money fraud cannot be returned digitally? But I don't know much about mobile money. I will still, we have a time, I need to still link up with the team at NITA within their schedules to give us a day when they can come to have, I think that Friday 2 o'clock would be a good time. At least give us 1 hour, 2 hours to just talk about this digital forensics. To talk about digital forensics and to give us, and we ask them some of these questions. But I tell you, this fraud takes a lot of time. It one time happened to a friend of mine. It happened also to one of my nannies. And by the time we came back from work, we found that she had sent these fraudsters over 500 to 600,000. And it was a very big loss on her side, my God. So there are lots of fraudsters who will just send people, call someone and tell them, you're a lucky winner, there's this promotion ongoing. That's why these days they are sending lots of awareness of messages. My question to you, please, in case you get those strange messages, don't waste time having a discussion with these people. Even when they call you, that we want you to verify your number because we are going to switch you off. They're calling from MTN. You say it's okay. You just forward their number straight away to MTN Service Center. Once they confirm it, that is it, they block that number because they are doing exactly what is not needed. They're violating the rights. So far, I've reported about 5 numbers of people who, and it's the same consistent voice, and you realize they either keep using stolen phones, stolen numbers, because when they go to the, when MTN goes to check in the database, they always find that there are different names. Yet it's always the same consistent voice, hoping that they will one time do what? Take some money from someone, which is not accepted. But sometimes they say on a daily basis, they make lots of losses. So we shall ask them that, what about the process of returning? First of all, is the process of detecting. When you detect, like in this case, when this person, this girl used to keep sending money, just in that one evening, in less than 1 hour, I called MTN and told them, oh, this and this is happening. This person, and it was a number, an Airtel number. They were like, sorry, it can't happen until you first go to police. First go and open up a case in police. When you record your statement, then they're the ones who will now write to Airtel for them to trace and give the details of that number. We said that is a dead end. So you can even use more money than what they have stolen in tracing a particular case. And that's why many people lose interest. If you look at the cost of what it's going to cost to take you, it becomes an issue. So law enforcement officers are very key. And that's why you see these days, they're trying their best to train them on this digital forensics, because the number of crimes that are happening are increasing, either because of COVID staff times, and as many people go on internet, they're making it very, very difficult for people to keep in a very secure environment. Okay, we have the individual private citizens. Yes, me and you can always be able to take on people who wrongfully come up and start harassing us, abusing us. Once you record them and there is evidence, you take them on to the courts of law. Here are some of the skills that for a computer forensic application experts need to have. Programming is one of them. Having a broad understanding of operating systems and applications. Having strong analytical skills, because you need to think through who else were they with, what phone numbers. Don't handle a case from a naive perspective. No, you need to know that a particular theft case is handled by different people. Have strong computing foundations, especially. We'll see some of these cryptographic tools. You'll see lots of mathematical components can be involved. Good administrative skills are important, because you're forever writing to police, you're communicating with people, you're trying to make follow-ups on what and how far a case has gone. You're following up always on what and how a case has gone on. So you need good administrative skills, good negotiation skills, good presentation skills. Knowledge about the latest intrusion tools are very, very important. We've talked about cryptography and steganography. Cryptography deals with the encryption. Encryption, you're trying to hide some information. You scramble it into some other language such that no one can easily pick it. Steganography is the one that involves, it's the science of hiding data and transmitting it while it is hidden. Then the person on the other side will use tools. We shall look at those Stega tools. Also, strong understanding about rules of evidence. Yes, understanding part of the legal. That's why we work with them. We are the experts in ICT, but we need them as well if we're to win a particular case. and evidence handling. This is how we keep it. We follow this process. We write here, we stamp here, photographs here. You need to know that entire process. The ability to be an expert witness in the courts of law. Yes, being objective and being able to present a particular case, and also how do you package and present your evidence to the jury such that you're organized, you're not just dramatic, but you're organized and you focus on the principles, and documenting them is key. Assignment number 1 was already done. This last part here, we will go through it quickly because it's about examples of cyber crimes that we have seen. We're explaining them further. In the real world, thefts can take place by actually breaking into people's houses, while virtually, thefts can be carried out by handling them in a virtual world. Handling these cyber crimes in a virtual world are what we are looking at here. In worst cases, what happens when theft happens? They can carry out the theft of property. That's the burglary. They reach in houses, pick the screens, pick the TVs, pick the laptops. That is still part of the crimes that they usually have. Look at this one. Someone was programming. To test my programming language, they need to carry out, let me just quickly read through. It goes back to slide 1. Okay, that's slide 4. What a silly mistake. Slide 1, to test my programming language, I will write a new virus. Oh, the computer accidentally sent this virus. The virus has now spread all throughout the world in a flash. They arrest the person, identify the person who developed this virus, who came up with it and spread it. And you know, they arrest you. After they've arrested you, that is it. Hopefully you learn a lesson and they keep you in the coolers. They call it a university of understanding. Keep you in the coolers for some years, 5 to 10 years, different countries have different crimes. If it's in China, for them, they just put you on firing squad and you become history immediately, instead of going around tarnishing the name of different people. We've looked at what computer crimes are, and we want to emphasize that it's always a two-way. Computer crimes are always twofold. It's an unlawful act where the computer is either a tool or a target, or in some cases, it can both be a tool and a target. Jeremy is asking, are all virus developers arrested? No, until you cause a huge impact of loss. If yours goes and does nothing somewhere and it has no effect, you're not targeting particular websites that matter, and you're not targeting people like Facebook, CNN, all those big ones, they don't bother with you. But the moment you attack, even if in Uganda you're attacking the data center, they will be able to curb you down because the forensic tools will lead them exactly to where you're doing this, your virus allocation is, and it will give us that whole mapping of where all these criminals or how far it has spread. So not all of them are picked, it's some that are picked depending on the impact and how touchy the people or offices that you sent them to. Others don't have capacity. Remember I told you, it's less than 1%, by the way, of all cyber crimes that are actually reported. Less than 1%. People are shy. You made losses and again, you go and report yourself. They're like, no, it's usually organizations that usually go and report, because sometimes even the people themselves also had a wrong motive. They wanted to make money. Someone tells you, I have this deal, I have gold in Congo, and you also fall for it. Before you know it, they cybercrime you, you send $10,000, hoping to get maybe $100,000, nothing, everything gets lost. So computer crimes are those unlawful acts that are either where you use a computer either as a tool or even as a target, or both. We have two aspects that we've seen. A computer can be a tool. For example, if it is handling child pornography, threatening emails, identity theft, sexual harassment, defaming, phishing. Phishing are those emails. We shall describe some of them and for you to read. Remember, there is one story, one case we recently had, okay, in the near recent years, because the gentleman passed away last year in prison. There was this German man that came. I don't know if some of you are following up on that case. He came and he was paying school fees for young girls somewhere on the islands, I think, of Kalangala. He opened up one NGO, and all he was doing, he was just using those as child pornography stars. He would do all kinds of funny stuffs with these little children, record himself, and he was sending them abroad until police was tipped off by one of its neighbors. That I see so many children there. We don't know what they are doing, as if they are studying, as if they are doing this and the other. And they realized it was child pornography. They brought digital forensic investigators, because in such a case, they were using computers to commit child pornography. And I'm telling you, they investigated and they got the truth. When they found the truth, they took him on because he had servers in German. He was making a lot of money from those porn stars and giving them had live stations where he was giving them a lot of live shows, which were not accepted morally. So such an example is using a computer as a tool. A computer itself can also become a target. For example, when you're sending computer viruses, when you're doing denial of services or distributed denial of services, like what they did to Facebook's cloud, they just attacked it and shut down everything. They were targeting all their servers and the cloud down. Software piracy, using software which is unlicensed, is also a crime. Hacking, worms, Trojan horses, and so many others, where you find the computer now becomes a target. So for as long as it is either a tool that is being attacked or it is the actual target, then that becomes a computer crime. Types of computer crimes, of course, we've seen many of them. These ones are just adding value. What is hacking? This is an illegal intrusion into a computer. Software piracy, we've seen it having unauthorized copyrighted software. Instead of paying licenses, someone has a cracked version. That is piracy. Pornography, we've talked about it from whatever websites, and of course, honestly, the end of pornographers is known. The end is known because God hates such people. It's what the Bible says. The end is very known. It is part of moral decay. It is on the increase. And I honestly tell you, please never, ever get involved in it. It is a wildfire. It is worse than a cancer. It is killing so many young people and causing all kinds of nervous breakdown. So don't try it. Computer is part of the computer crimes. When they get you in offices, that is it. They fire you because the evidence is always very easy to pick. Forged documents. People don't study, go and tell lies to parents. Oh, I finished my third year. Look at my transcript, come for graduation. Focus and study so that we do not commit this kind of forged documents, because you won't go far. You can't deliver once you don't have these academic documents. You're there changing marks. Someone is telling you, oh, come and pay fees here. Pay 10,000, I'll add 2 zeros. Or I'll add 4 zeros at the end. Not accepted. All those are part of fraud. Credit card fraud, using cards to pick people's money. Computer stalking, we've seen it, lots of harassment and sending threatening emails. Threatening emails to individuals, that's a crime. Phishing. Phishing involves masquerading as if you're someone who's trustworthy. You're just using someone's names, telling them all kinds of stories because either they hacked into your phone, they stole your phone and they have numbers, They start calling your parents. You're masquerading, it's part of phishing. You send an email and the person sends you their username and password. That is phishing. And you start using it. Computer defamation, that one we've seen. People go to websites, social media especially, and they start abusing you for one reason or the other. That is a defamation. Once they take you on, they will take you on, and it's a serious cyber crime. Okay, so those are part of the cyber crimes, phishing and computer defamation. Digital evidence, we've seen the moment it's on a computer kind, it's in a memory storage format kind, then it is actually a crime. It is evidence that we can be able to pick, we can be able to use to see how to either arrest or pick someone who has carried out this kind of crime. So any digital evidence, for as long as it's on any storage format. And our next slides are going to be able to show us all kinds of digital storage devices that we can identify on site. You can identify when you go to a particular place and see what evidence one is having there. So digital crimes happen on this kind of digital media, and being able to identify it is very, very important. Okay. Electronic records, of course, are those that are generated or stored or sent in within what is in an electronic format like emails, whatever it's, whether it's data or sound, that is still evidence that is used. Imagine someone calls abusing you. As long as you have a recording, that is evidence as well. We have here a number of challenges that we have that face investigative agencies. Number one, difficulties in collecting this evidence. Some people are not compliant, and that's why you have to go with police. You have to go with someone with a legal backing, authority, because they will tell you, who are you? Digital forensic expert. They send you packing. You have to go with a team so that you do your work, do the acquisition, pick whatever you need, do your bit streams and move away. Go to your lab and sit, and the others continue with the investigation. So it's difficult. So it's very fragile when you're dealing with computer data. You don't want it to get lost. There's a lot of fear of destruction of vital information or vital data. Vast volumes to be examined, that is in the analysis. Oh, it takes a lot of time. Diversity of hardware and software, and you know they keep changing. Every other year, new software, new hardware, new this and the other. It becomes very difficult for you to keep up with the times. If you did forensics a long time ago, and by the way, we'll encourage you, even after this, do cyber forensic certifications. These ones will focus you in several forensic and security areas as you proceed on in this security field. Another challenge they face is also being able to get cases that you take to court, and they're admissible, they're accepted. There are few that are accepted if you follow the procedure. Of course, we've seen our digital forensics definition. Well, we start identification, we go to acquisition, we go to documentation, then we go to analysis. We preserve this information and we save it away for other causes. Okay, so we looked at several methodologies, but again here for recap purposes, we're just going to look at our same forensics that has these different steps as well. A minute. we start off with our identification process. In the identification process, we will be able to see what happens. It's the same diagram that we saw and we covered. Identification, seizure, and authentication. All these happen at the crime scene. Acquisition, analysis, and presentation are in the acquisition and analysis at the forensic lab. You present it in the courts of law, then you preserve it wherever you would want to take it. Okay, so next slide, we just want to see what do you carry when you're going for a forensic investigation. A camera is very important. A camera is very key as part of the things that so you want to make sure you carry a camera with you. You carry a camera with you because you need to take photographs. Then of course you need to have blank storage devices. You need to carry blank storage devices because you want to carry blank storage devices because you want to store this information on it, whether they are CDs, DVDs. You never know what you're going to pick and in whatever format to make an eco mapping of that information. Pen drives, USB drives, hash calculators, write blockers. Write blockers are both hardware and software. So the hardware must be there. The software can also be on your computer. Crossover cables when you're getting onto internet and trying to get data from the server onto your side. Sketch and notebooks have, of course, storage devices. Anti-static bags or plastic bubble wraps. All these are part of the containers that we can use because we want them to be cushioned. Sealing material, because you're going to, as you're packaging this material, it needs to be sealed and stored off. Software and hardware for on-site virtual data retrieval and imaging. All these are very important, especially where you're making your images. Those are very key. How do you secure a crime scene? Having identified the place, you lock off the entire area using that yellow cell tape. Cut people off from office, and that is it. Pick all your data you need, all because you want to pick all the evidence that you can and be able to go to your lab. Then that is when you can open it up, depending on if the law does allow. No one should be allowed to touch the computers by including shutting or even shutting down those computers. They walk out of office. I don't know if you've seen, there was one time they went and the forensic experts went to a particular organization and they were showing it on TV. They just sent these people in this NGO straight home, sealed off the place, did the collecting of the evidence they needed. And after some days, they called them back and said, okay, proceed on with your work, because they were doing a physical search for some information. That's why the forensic experts pick their part and they go, the others continue. So that is part of the process of how we secure off crime. Disconnect, of course, power. These are first part of the first steps we mentioned. Why you don't want data that is not saved. First of all, of course, you save, then you cut off the power in case you don't want any of the items to blow up. If it requires access to the system, then you need to make a backup, especially where there is volatile data that may easily change or even find its way out. Computer forensic steps here. One, we're saying that there is need to have your backup and volatile data, or your router, your photographs, videos. This one we've seen. At the crime scene, take these photos. Pick this volatile data, identify digital storage media, and also draw this network topology. Ask them to draw for you the topology, the IT department. How is it? How is the LAN drawn? Provide the diagram. Questions to be asked at the crime scene, like login details, what is the password? All those are very important. That is very important information that is needed. Encryption is also the other that is needed. You'd want to encrypt through your information such that in case it's encrypted or decrypted, you have that information well provided. Files of interest, emails, we had seen those. Internet service providers, we must know, is it MTN, Airtel? Is it Zook? Is it Simbanet? Is it, I don't know, Liquid Telecom? Is it, there are several. Uganda has over, I think, 30 companies now that are providing internet to different people up to their houses. Offsite storage is the other. Hidden storage devices is another one that we handle at the crime scene. Why do precautions need to take place? It's mainly because of integrity. In case you want to, we've said for testing integrity, we've seen that you need to test for what? Use tools like the hash tools to test for integrity, just to present data as it is. Not you went and got data from someplace, added it in, no. That's why we carry out these integrity tests. The court of law allows this to be admissible once you have run the integrity tests. Active data, that is from vital, especially from some of those links where information is volatile and it is liable to losing some of this information. Deleted data, that one we've seen, it's important because we need to carry out recovery. Why is it deleted? There is a reason. Whether it was in the flash drive and it went away, it's important for us to go and pick this deleted data. Certain damaged files are very important because you want to pick out the truth on what happened to it. Okay. Next, we want to look at each of these steps, identification, seizure, very quickly as we get winding up in the next few minutes. I'm aware you have a class at 2, so we need to complete in the next few minutes. So within the exhibits that you find in a place, you pick the following: hardware drives, dongles, we saw those that used to have a long time ago for internet, external hard drives, digital cameras, floppy disks, USB drives, memory cards, CD-ROMs, any that have any storage devices, really. Other accessories, manuals, etc. In identification, here we're just showing you quickly, what do you pick? You go to a crime site. What is it that you walk away with? What is it that you want to make a backup of? Identify these same storage devices. Look at the front of a cabinet, of a chest or a case of a computer. Those are the old computers. The front end, then the back end of it, the CPU. You should be able to identify at least some basic parts of a computer. You should be able to identify your hard drive. There's HDD and SDD. If you're buying a computer, if you want speed, SDDs are what are now on vogue as compared to HDDs. HDDs are quite cheap, but they are very, very slow, very, very slow. So SDDs are of the size, look at this one, like for the laptops, the smaller ones, but they are very efficient, very fast. So if you're given an option, SDD, HDD, go for SDD. It's a solid hard disk drive, not just a hard disk drive. It is better, it is more efficient, and it is even faster when you're running such a computer with an SDD drive than just an HDD. These are all kinds of external drives, hard drives. At least you need to be exposed so that you can be able to identify some of them. Okay, SDD, yes, that's solid storage drives. Okay, thank you, Matthew. These are CDs and floppy drives and DVDs. Floppy drives were those used in the olden age. I don't know if you've seen any of them. They're no longer on the market because they are not efficient. USB drives are even better. These ones are very magnetic, and in case it rains, you lose all your information. But at least you should know what to pick when you go to search a place. All kinds of mobile phones. SIM cards are important for information at any crime scene. Storage memory cards are also important because they have some information. These are card readers or the skimmers. Look at the skimmers. Those are that the thieves use to pick information from credit cards. You go and find some of these devices. Look at it, it's up here. Either the black one or the gray one. These are well known for picking up credit card details. You go to a place and find they have all kinds of credit cards, really, that tells you there is a red flag there. You want to pick them and find out why do you have all these many 30, 40, 50 cards. A dongle and pen drive is also there as well. And then all forms, from the shapes of balls to shapes of sticks, pens. You need to be exposed and see, or cards, even nail cutters. See this one? Look at cameras. There are some cameras that are put on phones. You need to be very, very careful when you're looking out for some of these storage devices. The other day, they got several students copying using what? Smartwatches. And at university, we've now refused. You come in with a smartwatch, it's as equivalent as a phone, and you're planning to copy. So all those are part of identified items you need to know. We have, this is a scanner. A scanner helps us to convert analog information like a photograph. You scan it to get a digital part of it. It's a letter, you want to scan its hard copy. To get it, it also has some memory. You want to get and see its capacity. In seizure, we capture these suspected computer storage devices. Because we want to carry out the acquisition, we need to label them very well. Look at the pegs. Give them numbers, 1, 2, 3, whatever numbers you want to give them. Label them so well. Take photos, because all these are what you're going to present in the courts of law, what your findings were when you went to the premises at the identification step. We've said you need to package them and transport it in either an static wrap, a bag, or in a bubble wrap for magnetic media, just to make sure you don't lose the information on it, because a hard drive is made up of nothing but the static, magnetic components and sectors on them. You package them very well in their boxes, seal them off if you're carrying them to a particular place, especially if they're the ones they use to participate in within a crime. This is the bubble wrap in which you will keep them in a secure way. Keep it away from electrostatic waves. That's why they tell you keep those hard drives, or even cards, away from your phones. The phones keep on finishing the magnetic sectors of the cards, which are not good. Away from lightning, because that can destroy the entire device. All kinds of phones and SIM cards, pick them and open them and label them so that you take photographs showing exactly what you found at the crime scene. You've seen CDs, DVDs, phones. There are so many of them. Keep them. Next is acquisition. In acquisition, we said we make use of a write blocker. Now, write blocker, we have both hardware and software. So here we make use of things like the thumb screw. We make use of the fast block. We make use of Tableau to help us to prevent information to being written or taken off that particular hard drive when you're making the acquisition at that point in time. We've said our write blocker is always in two ways, hardware or software. And this write blocker helps us to keep our bits of information secure. Very importantly, we'll see some illustrations of how our write blocker will appear as well. Okay, they're saying if it's for software, these are software. Tableau or the fast block FE, or software like Ncase, FTK Imager. Yes, FTK Imager is one of those we shall use as part of the software tools in the acquisition step. Then some hardware, we've seen the write blocker like TD2, Talon, Solo, Dossier, BiologiCube. There are several hardware tools that you use for these write blockers. They are expensive. They are really expensive, and that's why very few even forensic teams can have all this equipment, yet they are needed. Authentication, analysis, presentation, and preservation. In authentication, you need to make sure we do the hashing. This one is verifying the integrity of the forensic duplicate. We shall look at this, we shall look at hashing software and how it works in OS forensics. Here what we do, we first of all, if it's for a file, we run it in within the hashing software. We pick its value similar to this. Are you seeing the MD5? You pick something like this with numbers, with figures, with letters, okay? Go back, run the next version and compare and see if it has actually changed. Then you're able to see to what extent. If they keep the same, then it will tell you, it will give you an output that exactly the same, hence passing the integrity check. If they are different, someone added something, it will show us and tell you a big cross, no, integrity check failed. That is also evidence to be taken. I mean, someone added there something after. Why? Something to investigate. This one here, we see the UFED system. This is the write blocker. Okay, let me just quickly annotate on it. This is the one that I'm saying this is the write blocker. The whole system here is quite expensive, more expensive than a computer or even laptop. So because it's forensic oriented, At least the IT organization needs to have this right blocker available to ensure that information is saved and it is not disturbed with. Okay. All the others are software that you use to carry out forensics. Some of them are free, but all of them actually have a free version. All of them have a free version. It's not all of them that are actually paid for. But again, the free version is limited in capacity, as we shall be able to see when we are running some of these tomorrow in the afternoon. It gives us a limit. It's not everything that we can be able to manage. Some of the software goes up to $2,000 or $5,000 software dollars. Some of it is about $2,000, $1,800 for a year. So it depends on what your budget's like when you're doing this forensics or in that company. In the analysis, we've said you have to check everywhere. You check the registries, check the Slack, the deleted files, the unallocated spaces, the log entity entries, the system files, all these, the cookies, the log histories, internet histories, to check and see that you actually have the rightful information you are looking for. This is an illustration just showing us the Slack space and the paid for, or the space that is available. The located space is the one in black or gray. The white space is the one which is hidden. People hide some drives for some awkward reasons. In analysis, what we mainly do, we do the mining, or we do the actual searching using particular keywords that we had already picked, or that we have been told to pick out on when you're doing the forensics. It's not everything that we search about. That one we already mentioned. And of course, we've said if you're documenting, keep them in a dry, cool area, free from dust, free from generators, from magnets, from ice, from water. Keep them in a raised way. As we wind up, we want to see some few computer tips I will quickly read out. Do not reveal personal information to unknown people on websites. They don't care about you. They only use it, of course, against you. Create hard to guess passwords and keep them private and change them regularly. For banks, it's every week or every 2 weeks. Use antiviruses or update them regularly. It's one of the ways to keep away antiviruses or keep away viruses from a computer. And of course, it has to be for only paid for antiviruses. A free one, don't expect much. Back up your important files regularly. Never reveal your true identity when you're chatting with strangers. Like when you're having games like Roblox, I don't know if you've seen some of those strange games. They usually use them a lot. When you reveal your names, they can actually trace where you are, pick more information about you, even trace and guess your password. So never give them room to start even guessing or even using your actual rightful names when you're chatting with strangers you don't know on a strange chat room that you have no idea about. Keep your passwords and pins safe and memorize them. Never have a folder called passwords or even a file. When someone searches, the first thing they look for is passwords. They search for PIN. Never keep things like MM in your phone, mobile money. Someone knows that is a PIN. You can't keep a key and the door or the lock in the same place. They will have opened and taken away all the money. So some things you need to allow them to be memorized and do not write down. Passwords, however long they are, because remember you always have clues that you always type there. Check for online banking websites and check if they're secure. If a website is secure, it should have the HTTPS. If a website is not secure, then it doesn't have the S on it. Then do not bank or alert a bank you can't carry out a transaction with a website which is not secure. Log out immediately after you have completed your transaction. Then, of course, do not respond to emails that ask you for personal information. You are lucky winner. Please send us your passport number, your NIN, your date of birth, so that we can see where, and your address, so we can send you this money. Wow, all those are thieves. No one asks for all that personal information. Read privacy policy statements before any transaction. Check your account statements to ensure that no unauthorized transactions have taken place as well. The final tips here: don't reveal too much information about yourself online. Add people as friends to your site only if you know them personally. Don't be in a hurry. You don't need the whole world to help you make it. No. Delete inappropriate messages from your profile. Do not post information about your friends as part. Oh, Heather's phone. I see you annotating. Let me first clear. Okay, so we are advised not to post about friends and family. Really, like if you have kids, keep them off that social media. You have no business putting their phones. You as an adult, if you want to, you keep your items there. But otherwise, it is not in order for you to keep these items there and keep posting people's children, people's, oh, this is a chubby kid. No added value at all. Keep them away and they grow up in a good way. So thank you very much. Let's meet again tomorrow at 2 to be able at least for 1 hour, and we go through at least 2 kinds of software that we are going to install. May God bless you, and please download these notes. They're all on Mwele. I hope we have them. We will soon be having our one test before we go back for our face-to-face classes. So may God bless you, and see you tomorrow at 2. Bye-bye.